Good morning, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend. It was delightful here in Wichita. Humidity was down quite a bit. Moved from the 60 to 70% range to the mid 40s with temperatures just below 90 most of the weekend. So really nice being out of doors, on the deck, etc. It is a great time of year. Also, I don't know if anybody else has noticed it, but you can feel that heat is starting to leave the earth. There's just a little bit different feel in the air. Like when you move into the shade or the rest of it, it's got a different feel. Part of that would be humidity, but the other part would be that the sun is starting its move south, and the sun is the engine that drives the Earth's temperatures, and as it moves farther away from the northern hemisphere, you expect things to cool down. It's the way it works. Here we are. Didn't have a lot of news over the weekend. Most markets are actually pretty quiet. We had Asia up 0.5% collectively. Europe was up about 1%. The FTSE was unchanged. So not a lot going on. Currency markets were relatively quiet. China didn't do anything in the currency markets. The revaluation of currencies in Southeast Asia is going on in that part of the world, as you would expect. Brazil, hundreds of thousands went to the street to protest their current government. And again, socialist, leftist policies put people into the street. It also sets the groundwork for a new demagogue to come on and take over those particular economies. But Brazil is really being hurt by the lack of growth in China, the contraction that's going on there. And there was a report out over the weekend, or a study. The United States has been responsible for about 20% of the growth in the world's economy. China's been responsible for about 1/3 of the growth in the world's economy. So the focus is on what's going on in China. Okay, the Empire Manufacturing Survey is our news today, plus 4.75. Doesn't usually have a lot of impact, but you know, it's the news today. So it'll have more than its normal impact when all is said and done. Housing index 61, ditto. Usually doesn't, this number could come in greater than forecast because the housing market has been reported being pretty strong, especially driven by multifamily. So those are the two pieces of news that we have a forecast for. E-commerce retail sales, no estimate. But if the rest of the world is like me, it sure is convenient to go to the computer and buy things that you know you want and like, and are sure you know what the quality is. Lousy place to buy stuff where you need to try it on and get fitted, etc. Doesn't work very well. And then last but not least, and it comes out at 4 this afternoon, so it won't be any factor, will be the net long-term capital inflows, and that's called at plus 23B. So the first news out is going to be the Empire Manufacturing Survey. The second out will be Housing Market Index. I think ultimately today's market will be driven by the direction of the E-mini. So our first sell is 19 to 23. It's where resistance is. 27 to 31. On the buy side, I'd like to do it at 5 to 9. A lot of it's just going to depend on what happens on the half hour with the Empire Manufacturing Survey. It may take a 13 to get in, but we're going to try to buy on the cheap. And then 29 to 1. We're going to play for a trading range today. And I'll put a question mark at 13. Just that's an area leaning against the London low right here that we may have to pay up to get in based on the manufacturing numbers from the state of New York. A little bit presumptuous, 19. A little bit presumptuous, the Empire Index Survey, the Empire Manufacturing. New York State has the Empire. Obviously, that name was chosen in different times. Okay, the knob spread widened. over the weekend a little bit. And that's my bastardized version of the knob spread. Mine is 1-to-1. The correct ratio right now is 3-to-1. So you have to keep that in mind. Mine you can figure on your feet. The other one you got to whip out your calculator. See a trading range here too. Resistance, top of value is at 21.22. So 19 to 23 picks up this area. 31 to 03. On the buy side, we have the London low at 7, so we're going to try to pick off this area down here, 1 to 5. We're going to put a question mark at 9. Again, this number that comes out on the half hour could determine that, and then 21 to 25 for buy 2. E-mini rallies today, Treasury should sell. E-mini sells today. Treasury sideways to a bit higher. You know, one of the things as traders that, you know, we're here to trade. We have to do something right out of the chute. But Monday mornings quite often takes a couple hours for the trade to develop. It's can be pretty quiet times. So we just have to kind of keep that in mind and just let our trades set up. And a lot of times the big paper won't commit for a couple hours on Monday mornings. They're trying to figure out what's going on too. Okay, we got a 10 to 12 buy. Market's trying to trade lower, didn't. Articles out about all these big players. You know, their #1 purchases last month were gold. And again, I just think that's, everybody can see that we're maybe not at the edge of the cliff yet, but we're headed there. And the United States is right with the rest of them on a, you know, we're the least worst of the bunch is the way that our markets are being approached right now, and we're the most transparent. And you can't make the claim at all that China's markets are transparent. So I just don't think that people will do anything other than what they have been doing, no matter what the cost. They're buying some gold, and they're buying it for insurance purposes. They're not buying it to make money trading. And some of the large funds are buying it for a long-term hold in case inflation explodes. Some people see that. Okay, volume most recent in the market's memory holds. So we got volume down here at what, 10:30. We're at 11:02, so we've got our 1075 by 1, our 1050 by 2. On the sell side, we're selling 15s to 25s, and then 50s to 60s for sell 2. Crude was off a little bit because crude prices are low. All we're reading about is why crude's going to be at $40 forever. May or may not happen. I mean, you don't know. We'll be able to trade it though, whatever it is. Not to worry about it too much. Like the sell side, I think we're headed below 40. So 42 1/4, 42.50, sell 1. 42.75, 43, sell 2. On the buy side, 41 1/4, 41.50, and that's probably the riskiest trade I'm putting up there. And then our 40.50, 40.75 for buy 2. And the E-mini. Again, not a lot of news. The stock markets, Asia were up a little bit. Europe's up a little bit. Not a lot going on. Not a lot in the way of news. Again, just taking a look at big picture stuff. We've got a seller at 2100 plus. Looks like we have a buyer below 65. We happen to be at 87. So 90 to 95 is going to be where resistance is when we start out. And so our first sell's 89.91. I mean, that's just, there's no real magic there. It's just, that's resistance. Second, 94.96. Best resistance starts at 2100. On the buy side, we've got volume at 80, 82. We're at 87, so 80, 82, buy one. And then 75, which is a bigger market number than 80, 82, would be buy two. So this 95 plus or minus is a better sell. The 75, 77 is a better buy. The news, Empire Manufacturing Survey. This number could come in lower than forecast. Housing index, 61. That number can come in higher than forecast. E-commerce, retail sales, don't know, but probably higher than it was last year at this time. And then that long-term capital flows at 23 billion. No one, it's after the market closes, so nobody will pay attention. So first piece of news, Empire Manufacturing Surveys. Second piece of news at 10 Eastern, Housing Index, and that'll be it for the news. Going to take a bit to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on it. See you as soon as I can.